Well, hello everyone. This is Brian Laughlin. I just wanted to reach out and talk to each one of you. I'm going to do this through just a webcast, and hopefully I can do more of these trainings. This way I think we'll have some historical reach to some of the trainings that we've had in the past. In addition to that, I'll be able to reach out to many of you. And sometimes, I've picked up a lot of the things from California, and I've been told I speak too quickly, and so you can slow this down and rewatch this if I'm going over things too quickly. What I'm going to cover today is just kind of an overview, just to kick things off and get things started. And the overview is going to be dealing with just some of the production and then what some action steps we can do. First of all, I just want to say great job on being part of the listing machine. It's not easy to figure out how to just do this business really, really well. However, when you do and you know what works for you, just focusing on the things that work and eliminating the things that are unnecessary tends to be a very successful strategy in improving your business. Now, one of the things I want to talk about are just the results that we've had. We now have the results tallied from June to August, and I'm going to go over each month. We're going to draw some insights from this. What's important is just to realize that none of this is a criticism. Please don't take it at all. From not winning or failing, we have the greatest lessons to be learned from that. And as long as we can go ahead and say, what did we learn from that situation? And did I do my best? Then I think that's actually an example of success. In fact, more often than not, you'll find that people that are successful have tried and failed more than others had even tried at all. So in this case, let's just go month by month. I'm going to look at these months. I'm going to draw and drill down into some of them in more detail so we can have greater insights. And for June, what you'll find is you'll see that on the lead types, you'll see a mixture of standard and partial standard. And then many of these are telegraphing. They're saying right up front what they're interested in doing. And so in this example, this person is saying, I want to sell my home. Another person says, I'm just curious. However, ended up listing their home in 32 days. This was a partial lead, listed in 22 days. Here's one that says, I'm thinking of selling in 3 to 12 months. Listed their home in 32 days. Low information, ended up listing 27 days. Here's one, 30 days, says, I'm going to sell my home in 30 days. And sure enough, in about 35 days, put their home on the market. Here's one that said, I'm going to list in 90 days. This is a listing lead that's come to us and says, I'm thinking of listing in 90 days. And within 90 days, they did. 3 to 12 months, a little sooner than that. Within 30 days, they did that, so 1 month. Someone said, just curious, and ended up listing in 49 days. And here's one that ended up clicking and checking the checklist. And so that's an automatic campaign that goes out. And what we've seen is that shows that they have higher motivation, and sure enough, they end up listing in 50 days. Well, what can we learn from this? Believe nothing. I guess that's one of the things. And if they telegraph, just expect that it's something that they'll probably do sooner. It's always probably better to err on that side if they're going to do something sooner than if you think you're not going to do anything at all. In fact, you'd probably want them to say to you, oh, please stop following with me. I'm really not going to do something for a year, and then cut that time in half and still follow up at that time. I think most great trainers will probably tell you something to do similar to that, is whatever time frame they tell you, cut it in half and follow up at that time. And you never know, situations and circumstances can change. Well, let's go ahead and look at July. And what you'll find is, same thing. You'll see partial leads, they're telegraphing, and they'll list sooner than the telegraph. All in all, you'll find very similar effects. However, one thing I like to point out on the days to work with these leads, it's increased. So we really focus on this lead generation and then working at the conversion aspect of it. And so on average, anything in July that had listed, we had an average of 57 days to work it. Now contrast that to June, we had about 34 days. And so if you're saying, well, what's the difference between June and July? The difference would be I really had less time to get to the now business because they really only gave me about 30 days or so to be able to have an opportunity to get in front of them and to be able to give my presentation and show them what we can do and list their property. Well, in July, we have a lot more time, where we have nearly 2 months on average from when the lead was generated to the time that we were able to see them go on the market. Now, in this case, we've had several examples where we've had listing presentations, and that was a success all into itself. But being able to have more of these opportunities would show that we are really doing the right activities to get in front of the people that have already expressed to us and shared that I am interested in selling my home. Now let's go to August. So August is interesting to look at, and I also highlighted a few. You see them in yellow. that I'd like to just drill down, and I just actually kind of picked 4 of them. It was just a good case study to look at. But what you'll find is interesting here is that the average days goes up. Now that was expected, as we rolled this out and through previous trainings we had talked about this. And in this case, we had listed 9.8 million or 9.8 million were taken in listings in August from the listing leads. And the average time to work with these listing leads were 94 days. Well, nearly 3 months. So about 3 months we've had a chance to be able to get in front of them, speak to them, follow up, continue to say, we have a presence in this area and we can help you provide value so that we can become the trusted advisor. Now, let's make one thing known, is that in every one of these cases, all of them had been people that had approached us in some way, some form through our marketing and asked us for information. And we talked about this in previous trainings, and so we're really the invited guest here. We want to be able to really very clearly try to ascertain their motivation and timing, all the while demonstrating our value in the eyes of the seller. That way, whatever we communicate with them, as they see us as this professional, we have the ability, the very least, to be able to to demonstrate what we can do for them in being able to get the price and help them achieve their goals, no matter what that would be. And that time, as long as we work it, works in our favor, to our advantage, because now we know that these people are interested, and we can be in front of them and be able to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be there when the time is right. Okay, so let's drill down on a few of these. And I picked 1, 2, 3, 4 of these just to come down into. And just we're going to look at the detailed records. And here's one of them. So one of them, you'll find that, and I just want to remark that, again, this is not anything about a criticism. This is really about a learning tool. What can we learn from this? And what I see here is that, let's just first look at the information. And so we have a phone number, we have email, we see that it was a listing lead and a partial. Well, what is a partial lead? Let me just re-explain that. A partial lead is this, is that they somehow, somewhere, put information in and didn't complete the process. Maybe we make them jump to 2, 3, or 4 hoops. And we test all the time. We're testing to see what ways work better. And let's say they stop at hoop number 2 and says, I changed my mind. I'm not going to keep filling out this information. Well, our computer systems already capture it, similar to an IVR hangup. Those of you that are familiar with that technology, again, that's all included. If you're not using IVRs for your marketing, it's already included in your Listing Pro version of OnTrack. You're absolutely not taking advantage of an amazing tool that not only will help you generate leads, but also a great way to get listings too, just to demonstrate that technology. But an IVR would be ability to give a phone number, usually a toll-free phone number, with an ID, and you entice people to say, look, you want more information about this property or a report or information, whatever it is. And you can call 24 hours, 7 days a week. You don't have to speak to anyone. You don't have to talk to a salesperson. You're not going to be sold on the phone. And so what happens is that now, because it's convenient to them, they can get the information when they want it. And they're not having to be bothered by some salesperson by talking to them and getting that information from them. It lowers the barrier for them to take action. And that's what we want. We want people to take action so we know that who's interested. And what you'll find is industry-wide, when you're able to do things like these IVRs or lower the barrier, you'll see that your response rates increase by over 300%. That's huge. That means whatever you did before, it's 3 times better than whatever it was before. So if you were spending money on marketing and you spent $500 on marketing, it's as if you did $1,500 in marketing for $500. Okay, now take that into consideration. This partial lead has lots of information, because what we do is we go back and backfill it and research it for you. So we can say, let's go get as much information as possible to make this contact, the initiation of it at least, as easy as possible. So with that said, these people, and we talked about in other trainings how to approach them, are going to be of the mindset, I started a process and I stopped it. In this case, we have the phone number, we have the email. There's lots of information here. You see the stop loss, because this, again, I'm covering things that have been listed already. And in this case, this area where it's the prospect workflow, I just got to commend this agent. This agent did exceptionally well, where they sent out the CMA, they set up the boomerang, they met them in person, CMA was received and confirmed, Facebook was requested, and they've spoken to them. And so at least on the start off, if you imagine this as being a race, yeah, wow, executed very, very well. And you can see this is a great area. This is in Irvine. And this is one of the numbers that are no longer in service. But all the while, you can see that if you come here on the email, that there are views. And so at least on one of the emails, it shows a positive indication here. I must say that if you look through the notes, that good notes and debriefs were done. These are just automatically sent, CMA hand delivered. And again, I got to give it to the credit to the agent for doing that, taking that extra step to say, let me go ahead and work this. You can see that the comps were done and pasted here. And so one of the things that's really helpful is to have the MLSs, pasted here so you can easily click on them for easy access. But the agent, again, does a great job here and debriefs very clearly. You can see what's going on, just any insights and personal insights that are happening here. You can see there's other follow-ups. This is intelligent to do as well, just saying how to pronounce the name if you're not sure. So it's Seg Atol Es Salami. I believe that's how you say it. But, that's a lot easier and a good reminder as opposed to coming up here and goofing it. The worst thing you could do is probably say the wrong person's name or mispronounce it. So, it shows a lot of care that I'm going to go ahead and remember how to pronounce that. And then you can see the debrief notes, letter sent. And all in all, you'll find that the end result was that it ended up listing August 18th, at least when the debrief had happened. So, and you can see the MLS number here. Okay, so we see that everything seemed to be done right. What could have been done better? Because the end result was that, we got the information. It was confirmed that, hey, these people have some interest, right? And it looks like there's a pretty good follow-up. And if you look through the follow-up, and you can do this on all of your contacts, looking to the right-hand side, you can see that the CMA was received in June. The attempted message was done here. There's email, Facebook request. You can see the dates and everything. Boomerang was set up on July 1st. And you see this auto campaign here that went out. And then an attempted message on July 7th. Interesting enough that this property ended up listing on August 16th. So a little over a month after the last attempted message. Now, what's interesting is what I did is I went back and looked at, well, who got these? And just to put all things in perspective, we even have the Facebook links here. So we have lots of ways of being able to engage with these individuals. And if we look at saying, okay, who ended up getting this? It ended up being this individual, Susie Denton, who's a top producer. In fact, on a rolling 360, she's closed $23 million. I believe might be the broker of that office as well, too. So a total of 18 transactions, 13 buyers, and 5 listing sides, and with $23 million in sales. I want to put that in perspective is that, sometimes it's just not enough just to do that initial stage, because almost always we're competing. The neat thing about this is that we're competing in a category where, a lot of producers are competing. And it puts you on the same level as them. In many cases, you are before them because they reached out to us and started this process. Imagine now, we're having an average of, over 90 days in this case to be able to say, hey, I'm able to have contact with them, provide value, assert myself as a professional and expertise, all that while being able to condition them for literally branded marketing to these select individuals. And we can own a brand to that level because we know exactly who we're targeting. Now, some of the things that the listing machine allows us to do is to be able to do really cool marketing that follows up on what's being done on the listing agent side. However, no marketing will overcome the lack of identity because still to this day, real estate companies don't sell homes. Real estate agents sell homes. In fact, that's a common rebuttal on objections, and it's true. Real estate agents still to this day predominantly are the reason why homes sell and why listings are taken. And if we were at a time, and it's happening, but it's not the dominant mode at all, where no agent would be necessary. then we wouldn't have this opportunity. We wouldn't have a chance to have a wonderful lifestyle in selling and helping people sell their homes and helping buyers buy homes and transacting in real estate. And so right now, computers haven't replaced us. The agent, that relationship is critical. Once that agent has some ongoing consistency, we can do many things that are multifaceted and be able to continue to be able to create a brand of expertise and value with the identity of the agent at hand. Okay, having said that, let's go on to the next one. So here's one where we see that Mr. and Mrs. Sphere had come to us, and he says a standard lead. That means they went through all the hoops and they provided us a phone number and their email. We can see that they even said that, less than 1 year. And in our trainings, we said, hey, if anyone telegraphs, treat it as hot. And the reason for that is, we're not going to just buy into what they're going to say. They don't even know their time frames. And so we're just going to say the fact that they telegraph is we're going to treat them as hot. And lo and behold, this lead was created on May 1st and ended up listing about 3 months later. So, less than a year was true. And in this case, we see the prospect workflow. What had been done was the CMA had been sent, the boomerang had been set up. And one of the things I like to do is just scroll to the bottom and see what had the emails look like. And so the emails, I can see here that the CMA, at least although it was sent, there's no access here. And it was sent twice, it looks like. It looks like it was sent once when it first was created and another follow-up later. The fact that there's no access here, let's kind of put we're going to put ourselves in the seller's shoes and think with their mind, is that they go through something. They fill out some information somewhere. And in most cases, it's requesting for some form of valuation. And here it is, whether it is Christopher or Erica, and they go ahead and fill this information out. And whether or not it was sent out, because it looked like it was sent out pretty quickly, the fact that they didn't click on it, because we have incredible tracking mechanisms to determine if someone has received it, it is as if nothing was done. Now, we covered this in previous trainings that, well, what happens if I send them something and they don't get it? And again, in their mind, it's as if nothing was done. Now, in some cases, depending on what tools and systems we're testing on, we may give some small short form of auto evaluation, but that's nowhere near our follow-up tools that we talked about in previous trainings on what to follow up and send. And so we're really looking to give them something a little more meatier and to start the relationship with that. And it's a great reason to be able to contact them. So going back to this, it would make sense that the agent would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to follow up. Let me contact them. Since I have their email and it's not going through, maybe I can try their phone number. Now, in this area, it's not too far. It's very close to our office. Another, thing that could be done is go and visit them. Snail mail would be another one. Texting would be another way of being able to get a hold of them. But do whatever it takes to somehow establish contact to show that, hey, we got your request for information, and I just want to let you know I'm sent it to you, I'm sending to you, I'm having these problems getting it to you. Doing it quicker is more relevant than following up so much later, because it's at that time they're asked for this information, they remember it. If we follow up a few months later, they may have forgotten they've done this at all. In fact, in many cases, people would say, I've never requested anything, because they probably just forgot. Now, let's look at some of the recent action histories. And what we can see is that you can see that an email was done, the CMA was sent. However, we know that this CMA was not received. It's good that an attempted call was done, but there is no message. So a call was made, no message. Again, put yourself in the seller's shoes and think in their mind, it's as if nothing was done. In fact, that message happened 3 weeks later from the first email. Remember, this email, this CMA sent, is the second email, the second CMA. So this is twice sent, twice not received. This is an email campaign that had been sent. Again, it doesn't look like they're really receiving them. So for whatever reason, the email methodology isn't working. We need to be able to look for other means to get access to them. So even the boomerang would be suspect. Why is that? Because Boomerang uses email. So if email is not being delivered or not being received for whatever reason, there could be a number of reasons for that to be the case, then adding another email style may not work because the mode isn't working. I hope you guys understand that. If you realize that, okay, if this mode isn't working, I may have to change it up. Otherwise, keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Some people have defined that as a definition of insanity. Again, here's this information where they're saying everything that they want. This is a nice price home. It's over $1 million, and the reality is that this prospect we didn't really follow up enough on it. In fact, at all. So let's look at who did get the listing. So here's one, and her name is Lynn Wong. And Lynn got the listing, and she's also a top producer. On a rolling 360, she did 20 transactions, 6 seller sides, 14 buyer sides, totaling $15 million. It's interesting to consider this, is that how is it where an agent with not following up would expect to get a lead versus someone who's doing, let's say, $15 million? How would they follow up? What's the mindset of a producing agent? I bet you they follow up harder. I bet you that the producing agent works very hard to get some form of contact with these people. In fact, all producing agents do that. That's what makes them producing, is that they realize, I gotta go ahead and follow up on my contacts and make my contacts and close my contacts, convert them. And that's really the recipe for me to have high production. Let's look at another one. So here's one. We see Mark. Mark comes to us, and it's a standard lead that you can see here. And so the standard lead is, again, they went through the whole process, and we got their phone number, we have their email. In this case, this is a Hawaii one, so that's kind of cool. We're talking about Hawaii. We have the Facebook information that you can click on there, and then many times you can see what they look like. They're also telegraphing. They're saying, hey, I'm interested in selling in less than 3 months. And this lead came to us on the 5th. Now to this agent's credit, this lead wasn't distributed to them until a few months later. But as a whole system, we've had 90 days to work on this. Now, as we go through this property, we see that, okay, it was listed, and it was listed within 90 days or so, within the time frame that they said, completely telegraphed. But let's look at some of the signs. Here we are, where we see, okay, the email was sent out, by the way, a month and a half or so from the time that they requested that information. And so nothing was really responded very quickly. So that wouldn't be a check in the plus column, definitely. But at least something was sent. The good thing, though, is we can see that not only did they see it, but they clicked on it. And the click is a much higher indicator of success because it's very hard to be able to spoof that. Views can be spoofed. That means you could have false positives on it. However, on clicks, it's almost a matter of fact. If you clicked it, I know you got it. If you clicked it, I know you clicked on it. And so you had access to whatever it was that was clickable, whether it be a document or a link to some other website or a resource. And so it's a high response for us. So we know that they got it. Now let's look at the follow-up, because again, I think we're noticing a pattern. It's key. You can see a lot of campaigns had gone out from there. The CMA was sent, and we know in this case was received. But the key thing, the very key thing that wasn't done was that never once was this contact ever attempted to be contacted. Not once. And so it would be impossible, virtually, for us to expect us to get a listing if we're not doing the sales. If you think about it, when you go to a real estate school and you get your real estate license, it's called a real estate salesperson license. And a lot of people want to remove that and edify that to some higher degree of something else. But the reality is we're in sales. And so sales takes us to a activity that would allow us to have production. And that activity is talking and meeting with people, whether it be on the phone or face-to-face, but some type of dialogue. It could be an email, but it's having some type of conversation with them. And that would allow us to sell. With high information, a telegraphed lead, the result was no listing. Someone else ended up benefiting from that. And it was only for the fact that we never tried. In this case, let's see who got it. So Evan ends up getting this property. And again, another producer, 10 million. So you can see that a little lower end is 20 transactions. However, kind of split, 9 buyers, 11 listings, and 10 million, almost 11 million. So great, another good producing agent. Now, I could find many examples of agents that weren't producing that ended up taking the listing. But what I want to really focus on is that, we're always competing. And you're now competing with some of the best agents. That's a great, great milestone to realize that, wow, yeah, I'm on top of it. But for me to compete and win, it's not enough that I'm there first anymore. It's not enough that I know about it and I have all this complete information that's been telegraphed and I've been given permission to follow up with them. That's not enough. To win the race, I have to go and complete the race. That means constant follow-up. Trainings that we've pushed out before, you hear me say things like sales success comes from sales follow-up success. And it's in the follow-up that you have your sales success. Let's look at one last one. And in this case, we'll go over it very, very quickly. And in this case, we have a lead that's generated early in May. And it's a standard lead. And you find that we have, the phone number, not one email, but 2 emails. And you come down here, you can see that it's in an area close to our office. Nice price as well, too. They did not telegraph. They didn't say what it was for, but they ended up listing their home in 90 days. And you'll see that we even researched to find more information. This lead was assigned to 2 agents. To one agent that wasn't able to follow up with it, and the second agent that couldn't or didn't follow up on it. And you can see in the prospect workflow that nothing was done. In this case, this lead was simply lost because no follow-up had been done. Of the 4 examples that I went through, really only one was worked on, but it was stopped prematurely before finishing the race. Many times we have to press on towards the goal, keeping our eyes on the goal and the prize, to realize that, it's through the consistent effort of follow-up that lets me compound my wins. That's the common thread in all 4 of these. Even in the first example, there was some follow-up, and to the extent of, hey, I'm going to go there face-to-face, double stars there. But for all that work, to not receive a chance to be able to say, let me show you what I can do, really is truly in the form of the consistent or the lack of consistent follow-up. In the other 3 cases, there was just no follow-up at all. And so what I want to point out to you folks is that, hey, you know what? Although we're not getting the business, the reality of why we didn't get it is because, for the most part, we didn't try. One of the things I want you to consider is that in June, the number of listing leads that were listed were 8.8 million. In July, another 8 million of the listing leads. On average, again, we're having about 2 months to work these. On average, these listing leads that are listed in July, 8 million. In August, 9.8 million. So you take June, July, and August. And what you're looking at is about 25 million in listing leads that were listed, that were ours first. And my challenge to you is to claim what is yours. This is your business. This is stuff that you deserve. Okay, so what am I going to do? What can I do about this? Well, what you can do is focus on the activities that give you sales success. Let me demonstrate. One way you can do this is go ahead and go into your OnTrack. And if you're on the listing machine, you just go into the ET OnTrack, you go to Power Reports, and you click on Daily Activity. And Daily Activity is right here. So you see Daily Activity, you just click on that. And since this is started about May or so, and in fact, just to make it simple, I'll just say June, July, August. I'll just start from June. So 2014 from June to now. And I go ahead and say, let me pull the information. You can see exactly what your activities are. Now I'm going to go ahead and just focus just on this part right here. I'm going to take that part and I'm going to drill down and see what do the numbers look like. Well, they look like this. So looking at these numbers here, you'll find that, okay, these are all the contacts that had been done for that 3-month period. So if I total everything that had been done, there's about 109 contacts. And every agent that had done it, about 36. So 36 contacts per month. Per agent, about 3. 3 contacts. That's it per month. What our actual effort to this was, if we're to take all the effort, the selling effort that is, the actual selling effort, and say what was done and how do we quantify it? It was essentially 3 contacts per agent. That's it. And you think, well, what is it that I need to do differently? Well, the reality is this. The contact numbers for 3 in a month is excruciatingly low. So low, it's improbable to impossible that you'd see any sales results from that. So what do I do then? Well, one of the things you can do is go ahead and say, let me set a contact goal, a daily goal. Now, that can be a mixture of your listing machine leads, your own personal leads, or any other aspect that you do, whether it's just listed, just sold, expired, FSBO, your sphere of influence, or any other form of lead generation that you're doing. You can throw it all in there. If you're just out and about, you're door knocking, you're talking to people in a grocery line, every contact that you talk to someone that's a decision maker about real estate is a fair contact. And you say, my goal, the minimum, is 5 to 20 a day. 5 to 20 a day would make all the difference in your career. Now throw on to that you have the ability to have all these listing leads that you can follow up. You really are setting yourself up for a tremendous career. But the key thing is that you must do the sales activity. There's no magic bullet. I'm sorry, guys. You can go to Mike Ferry, Craig Proctor, all the wonderful trainers that are out there, and you'll find that there is no magic bullet. It just doesn't exist. And anyone that tells you that it does is lying. But there are ways to work smarter, to leverage yourself, to be able to complement your weaknesses and work your strengths. But the strength that you must develop is the ability to have enough contacts throughout any given day so that you have the opportunities to make sales. I believe in you folks. That's why I chose to partner with you. And there's a lot of people that support me, like Elliot and many of the senior partners as well. And this is a new program that we're excited to do, and we hope that, God willing, we can mature it. But it can't go much further unless agents step up and do their fair share of work. And the neat thing is, if you do your fair share, it will permeate through the rest of your business, because you focusing on sales will help every other aspect of your business do well. I hope this was helpful. I really enjoyed being able to share some of these insights. I'll go ahead and focus on more technical things and training aspects in future recordings. Please share your feedback, and I'll be sharing this on our Basecamp. God bless you all. Take care.